They say every developer should have a portfolio. Now, I don't know if I agree with that or not, but I enjoy having one. It lets me be artsy, try out new technologies, and blog about things I'm doing. So, let me show you how I built my latest portfolio. Now, I'm not an artist. I ain't a UX designer. So I'll go to awards and try to see what's getting me feeling good. Borrowing some of the ideas you like and seeing how you can implement it. And usually when you try that implementation, you come away with a different realization of it. It looks different, but the concept came from somebody else. What does it say about the developer? Is this bold? Is it showing a lot of personality? When asked how do you think of the function of color in web design, Vijay Matthews said it can be used to establish hierarchy. Depending on the level of contrast color, it can help direct a user's attention and prioritize information. Color, when used in consistency, can help establish an identity through their systematic familiarity across the site. Now, how do we go from inspiration to actual viewable content? This is where I use Figma. Now, Figma's a pretty easy design tool to learn. It has a bit of a learning curve, but it's a quick YouTube tutorial. So rather than having to build a new project and code out all the little bits and changing your fonts and colors, you can be so much faster at that in Figma. You can look at different ways to play around with different screen sizes. How will this look on a mobile phone? How will this look on a tablet? What about a widescreen? Figma allows you to kind of play around with different frames. A quick way to canvas up your first prototype of this application. And you don't need a whole lot to get started with Figma. It's very accessible to just start with some basics, and you can learn on the way. The more you use a tool, the more familiar that tool becomes. Figma is a great tool for every developer to know how to use, and then to also use its developer mode to see how to translate that CSS into your actual code. One of the decisions I made for this portfolio version was that I would move away from React. Previously, I used Next.js as a React framework, but the problem was that shipping React was very heavy. And then on top of it, Next.js was always having to do extra work by hydrating the website. That is, they would try to match the HTML during build time with the actual client state. And that's where Astro comes in. Astro by default is shipping only HTML, so it's substantially smaller and therefore faster. And then in places where I need JavaScript, I can use JavaScript. Astro will allow you to be able to do it just in the places where you want some of that reactivity. This also allows us to actually still use React when we want to. But instead of React, I wanted to try out a new piece of technology called Solid. While Solid also uses JSX like React, it doesn't use the virtual DOM, which makes it a lot faster. If you don't know what the virtual DOM is, let me show you. Typically, we'll have the HTML tag, a head, then a body, and inside of your body is usually where you're going to put all your additional elements. So you can have a div, inside of that div you might have a paragraph element, then you might have another div, and inside of that div you might have a bunch more elements. Close off that body tag, close off your HTML, and that's when you can kind of notice that this looks like a tree. The HTML being the parent node, the head and body being children of the HTML, and then the body node would have more children. The div element, the paragraph element, and then the other div element and its children. So, how does React work? Well, React will look at your actual DOM. So let's say you have a few nodes, a few HTML elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then what React will do is it will take a copy of that, and that's what it calls the virtual DOM. Then any changes that are happening are actually first happening to the virtual DOM. So if the user does something that produces a new version where node 2 and 3 are switched and node 4 and 5 are removed, what React will do is try to diff the differences between what the actual DOM looks like and what changes are being made to the virtual DOM. Figures out what are the updates that need to be made and then applies that to the actual DOM. So how does Solid work? Well, Solid doesn't actually use a virtual DOM. Solid is making direct manipulations to the actual DOM. So you as the developer will tell Solid, hey, these are the pieces that you need to listen to, what Solid calls signals. By eliminating the virtual DOM, Solid is substantially more performant. Alright y'all, that was my process at building out this portfolio. If you're interested in the code, you can check out my blog post linked in the description. And I know I didn't introduce myself, so my name's Rose. I am a software engineer. I made this YouTube channel to share with you all what I'm learning. If you have feedback, I'd love to hear it. A subscribe would mean so much to me, especially at this stage. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one. For now, goodbye.